Check, baby, check, baby, check. 1, 2. Check, check, checkity, check. Good morning, everyone. Just getting started here. All right, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. The man in the box next to me, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart wizard. I changed it up a little bit there, Pedro. But anyway, it is December 3rd. It's the beginning of a new month, ladies and gentlemen. We weren't on Monday or Tuesday. I was out of town. Starting off the month with a bang here on Wednesday. And what does Bitcoin do to us? Man, does it play with our emotions the past few days. The peoples that run this whole thing, the they, when you say they do it, they took our hearts for a ride by dumping the market, bringing it back. I have a feeling we're still in for some dumpity dump, but we'll go over that with Mr. Pedro Garcia in just a minute here. Pedro, how was your weekend, my man? What's happening?
It was good. I just chilled and hung out. It was good. I wasn't feeling the best, but I just kind of hung out and chilled, and got some good turkey and had I went over to a couple of friends' place. Actually, I just kind of chilled and hung out in bed. Pretty much.
Well, that's a good thing too. But a lot of for you viewers, sometimes Pedro and I talk extensively offline about things, topics, and all that. And other times, from the time one show ends to the time the next one starts, we don't talk so much because of the holiday week and all this stuff going on. And I'm visiting my kids and all that. I was in brain checkout land, and so when I was serious, I'm like, Pedro, what happened? Usually, people think, oh, you guys just do that for chit chat. I'm like, no, I honestly had no idea what Pedro was up to the past few days, but I hope Pedro and hope all of you had a great Thanksgiving here in the United States of America. If you are somewhere else in Kazakhstan or Europe or anywhere else, I hope you just had a great Thursday, a great Friday, a great Saturday, and a good Sunday, and a miserable Monday like the whole rest of the world going back to work. But anyway, what didn't stop during all that time with Pedro was Bitcoin, as you well know, and that Bitcoin price absolutely drove everyone bonkers. Wow, what was that? I totally got the wrong screen there. Drove everyone nuts the past couple of days. But it seems to be setting a trend. What's going on with the Bitcoiner?
The Bitcoiner. Definitely. I think we have some really interesting things actually right now. One of the biggest things that we're doing with BTC, and this is where we're going to look at here real quick. We're going to go to the kind of the smaller time frames. I normally start at the larger time frames, but we're going to kind of look at some smaller time frames here, so you can understand why I'm not trusting again this rally up that we're coming out of.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
Now, if you look right here, we're coming down. You can see how the majority of the smaller time frames, the hour marks, you see we have a huge amount of sellers stepping in, a very small amount of buyers. You can see right here, you saw one right here, but it was a exhaustion candle where you saw them just kind of push the market up. But it's not necessarily like down at these lower levels. And so like, especially at this lower level here that we saw happening on Friday, like, and this was, I think, last week, but still it's important to understand, because I feel like if you were going to see a big rally, we would have seen a bigger buyers. You've seen buyers stepping in right here, and we didn't. So ultimately, it's important now that we're looking at this current rally, you can see, like, look at the amount of volume coming in from last week. This week we're sitting in, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, and you can see here into the holiday, just one, we know that there was going to be a lack of volume, right? But then this week, I would expect if it was going to really get going, I would have saw volume step in on the smaller time frames. Even though we had a big candle yesterday, look at the amount of buyers stepping in, right? That's,
you know, sorry that the scroller on the bottom for some reason today is covering your volume.
Let me go ahead and I can just switch that up here real quick.
Hey, if you just drag the bottom of your window up a little bit, that would work.
Yeah. Roger that. But, give me 1 second, my friends.
All right, I took your screen off while you adjust that.
It's okay. It's all right, man. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone that's watching here. Thanks for joining us. We've got a good crowd already. Got 11 people watching. Thanks for doing. Remember, this is an interactive show, ladies and gentlemen. Drop some comments. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're watching.
Listen, before I move forward, I just got to say, dead or locked in. Dead or locked in. What's up, DeFi dude? Good to have you, brother. Shout out to Fire Chicken. Also that funky guy, the Pedro Jr. Garcia 79 guy.
Yeah, that guy's whacked, man. We got to call the police.
He's eclectic, I gotta admit. He's always just trying to find some weird knowledge. So,
welcome, Chuck. Welcome, Chuck, to the show. Good day, y'all. Good day, y'all. Says Fire Chicken.
So we're looking. So I wanted to point out kind of intra time frame, whereas you can see there's definitely more seller pressure as we're coming down. We didn't really see a lot of demand wicks, right, as we're coming down. And so for me, I'm definitely, even though on the daily we're seeing a step in, I'm just not trusting. I think we're going to come back down to that 75 area. As we're rallying up, it's important to pay attention. We're not putting any significant demand zones here, right? I'm not seeing major sell-offs, and we're seeing it come back up, right? We're really seeing right now just kind of going up with lack of volume. And so it's important to understand that there's no necessarily real conviction behind this. Now, how many times have I said that? We've seen Bitcoin just grind up, right? So I want to be mindful that if you're looking to be shorting this, don't short it yet. As long as the market is still moving up, we want to go long. Okay. We did get above the 8 and 20. We have the 8 and 20 cross, which is a bullish sign. Okay, so the next level that we're going to be looking to get is roughly up in here around that 100,000 if we do continue to go high. Now, we did play off of last week. We put in the supply zone here, right? And last week we hit it and we sold off to it. Obviously, we weren't on the air, but you can see it did come off. We talked about it a little bit, saying this is a supply. I expect to see a bit of a pullback. Talked about hitting the 8 and went back further down into our 84 area. I said we potentially could come down into this lower level. I was expecting us to go down further, but it didn't necessarily do that. So again, I want to point out, we have a low, we have a higher low, we have a high. Now we just created a new higher high. So, but I wish I could see more volume on the buy
Right.
side. So this is where I'm like, all right, guys, if the market is moving up, where's an area that we could see a sell-off, and where's their liquidity? So let's pull that out here. You can see right here, we have liquidity sitting right here. There's a bunch of stops sitting at that level of 96,930. Okay, if we're coming up into this area, and around that same area, we also have a flip zone sitting right here as well. So this could go to that 100 to 96. The other one, when we look at our weekly is sitting at that 8 period, also at that 100. So we've got a few areas here that you guys need to be mindful of, okay? That's going to be that 96 area where we can see a pullback, and then we also have the flip zone, and I'll put the flip zone here as well. Boom. Flip zone, just if you don't know what that is basically when a zone that was once a previous demand zone or supply zone becomes, instead of support, it now becomes resistance, because a lot of buyers had to really push through that. And so when price comes back up to that level, they get stopped out. And so then that becomes, when they're stopped out, those are buy positions, right? Boom. Or excuse me, when it comes back up, because they're sellers into that area, right? When it comes back up, it hits a buy stop. And then those buy stops get absorbed by the institutions as sell orders. And so those buys are being absorbed by the sells. And that means sellers take control again, because they have enough liquidity for them to continue the market down. And so that's what we're looking at right here. And so I want to point out here real quick, so we can see that. I'm going to make that, these are intraday timeframes. So I'm going to sit there and just change that up a little. Right here. Come on. There you go, buddy. There you go.
Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro has disappeared.
I think my system just shut down.
Does this happen to you not when you're not on this show? Only
Nope.
on this show?
Only on the show. And it's always around this time, because this is when we start to go into our news. And what's the first thing that I talk about?
Don't say it. We'll go with the rest of the show without saying it.
There's no way, because I've got to bring them up in regards to what's actually happening on a global standpoint. So, like with the hey, look, we can talk about the U.S. market and what's happening with Trump and crypto and everything, but then we have to look on the other side, what's actually happening on the global security side. And really, when you're looking at debt, and with them, this is what happens. And so we have to talk about it. Now, most people don't know what's actually happening there, and so they're trying to keep it shut. And so I won't bring them up just yet, but it's important for our viewers to understand what's actually happening globally. And those people have a ton of money in our stock, in our stock market, a ton of money, just in all honesty. And I don't understand how they would be able to, I know I'm being conspiracy theorist here. I know it. I sound like a weirdo, but it's too obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, if it's my point of asking if it only happens during the show, it isn't just maybe thinking there's an outsider messing with you. It's maybe there's something at issue with our broadcast software, and for some reason something's conflicting with what. Obviously, it never happens to your phone because that always works. But maybe there's something along the lines that it gets overwhelmed or something and just craps it out.
I hope that's that simple and I can stop.
But on your computer though, you can't do anything else. You can't open up a YouTube video. It shuts your whole internet connection down.
Shuts everything down. That's why I'm like, how is that possible? Because when I see the stream, it's not pulling any real. It's like the CPU unit isn't over. I don't hear my fan going. I don't hear anything being overstressed out. I always check my internet. It's always strong. And then we go live and immediately my computer's great. The internet just goes, boop. And listen, I've taxed my whole entire system hardcore, so I just don't understand what's going on. Yesterday, I actually upgraded a lot of my drivers, everything, like set everything up, make sure everything's good. I don't understand. Anyways, let's move forward because let's finish off with Bitcoin, and then we can go from there. So
I've got the 1 hour chart up.
Well, let's look at the daily because I already went through the 1 hour. You can see how the 1 hour had, as we were coming down, a lot more sell pressure. And so I want to pick on the daily here real quick so we can sit there and see it at large. It's very, very frustrating. I have to admit it, dude. Just give it to God, man. All right, so I want to point out, you can see on Tom's chart here. Tom, go to the current candle with the 8 and 20 cross. And I want you to broaden that out. Yep, there you go. And we can see that the 8 and 20 are crossing there. We have the golden cross there as it's starting to continue up. We're coming up into supply. So what we want to see is we want to see volume step in on this candle and then the next candle. And then we want to see it pull back once it hits that liquidity that I pointed out on my chart. And then we want to see more volume.
Right here.
Yes, right there, exactly. Then if you go to your weekly chart, you'll see up a little higher for the 8 period. And then we also have another flip zone sitting there.
Here?
On your 4 hour, yeah. If you look at your
daily.
Weekly, so it's go to your weekly, and then if you go to your weekly, you'll see the 8 period moving average sitting above us a little higher. Is your 8 gray? Yeah, it's great. So it's the gray line for him. So
this is 8 here, the slightly purplish one.
Yeah.
21 here.
So that gray one is going to be one of those ones that you want to pay attention to. So if you go to your 4 hour time frame, are you on the Bitfinex?
Binance. Oh, there we go. All right, your screen.
Yeah, I didn't set everything. There we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Let's go ahead. We'll keep this up in case I get discontinued again. All right, guys. So you can see here that you have. Is my screen on? Okay, perfect. All righty. Here we go. So here is the liquidity I was talking about. This is where, if you look right up here now, where Tom's 8 is on the weekly is where my 50 period moving average is sitting. And so you can see here I have a 50 period moving average sitting right here, which is going to be roughly that 100,000 psychological marker area that we could see as we can put that short on. Now, if this is going to pull back into that area, and the reason why I go to the weekly, because we're at the weekly and the monthly, right? We're at the beginning of the week, we're at the beginning of the month and at the beginning of the week, right? And so you want to give extra movement because we're putting in that supply wick if we're going to go down, right? And you're like, wait, what are you talking about? Because we're moving up at the beginning of the month, like I always say, what's happening in the beginning of the month will be most likely the opposite of what we're going to have at the end of the month. And so I want to point that out to saying we're going up at the beginning of the month right now with low volume. And that's the buyer volume. And so we're moving up. And so if you look at your weekly area, that's so crazy. My CPU unit is not even heavy and I'm getting delays, which is the craziest thing. I don't even understand it. Like I literally don't understand it. I'm like, Lord, give me understanding here. All right. Okay. I need to get better at computer stuff. I need to get more detailed. Okay. So what's important here is that this area where that 8 period is sitting and my 50 period, right, is potentially where we can see the market come back up to. There's a psychological level of that 100 period moving average. So when I'm looking at that, I can sit there and say, well, how do I sneak in on it at a better level? So I want to go to my 1 hour. I want to take that short there. Okay. So how do I do that? Well, I need to find liquidity. Are there areas that I can find liquidity? And wow, there is. You can see right here that around the 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, where you have the transition. If you look at ICT trading, he talks about how you have the Asian market, you have the London market, and you have the US market, right? And how they always switch. And so I want to make sure I correlate where the majority of the volume is sitting. And you can see here around the 12 o'clock or right at this level, the 1800, which is the New York Open as well, okay? Or the CME Open. Okay, that's this level right here. And so that's where I'm looking at where we're placing our flip zone at. Now, if you want to, you can actually even just place your 4-hour zone. Actually, we'll just do that here, make it easier for everybody so you can understand. So we're using a flip zone that correlates with a, come on, brain, you can do it.
You can do it.
A flip zone that correlates with the time frame switch, right, from the London to the American Open. Plus, you also are dealing with higher time frame zones that sit right there. So that's where I'm looking at going, okay, if they're going to pull it, I want to correlate a lot of trading styles that will step in for mine. Now, obviously, I use the moving averages, which is and not a lot of people use it. I use it because I see it as a better tool for myself. But that's that 50 period moving average sitting where the daily and the 8 period moving average. And so we're correlating it right here on that 1 hour zone here. And so that's where I'm really kind of expecting it to get up to for the month. And so let's look at how big that wick would be then for that month. Because before it goes up, it must come down, right? And so if you look right here, we can see it would be a big old fatty seller wick as you come down into this level. And if most people know that a lot of times if a market's going to continue down, it will go halfway up a previous candle's body. So you can see here that that's that 50% retracement push up, which is sitting about right here, right? So this is another correlation that you can sit there and look at. So like, again, that's going to be that 550,000 mark area to that.
Wait, say that number again.
Let me go ahead. That's going to be the 100,000 and 550.
Right.
I'll just say 10,550 area. The 100,550 area.
There you go.
100,550 area to the 90.
The AI translator thing is going to be like,
what is going on, right? All right. So, and there's 2 areas here, right? I talked about another liquidity area, sitting at that 96 area. So we've got a few liquidities that we can come and take in. Once it creates and hits that area and takes that liquidity, we could potentially see it come back down to that 95 area here, which is what I've been talking about, 95, 94. We were actually on Bitcoin.com and we were talking about it. So that's one of those things that's important to be paying attention to.
So with this monthly candle, 2 things that now that I'm in the mode to be looking at the monthly long-term stuff, there's already a buyer's wick, demand wick, that's strong enough that we don't have to. Just looking at the time frame to make a proper candle, we may not come all the way back down for the month. We could come right down to 75,000 tomorrow if market makers decide they need to do that. But the bottom part of the candle has already been made, and we could easily go up to that number. I would like that very much. I would like it to do that, and go back up to that level, and then come back down to 75, and then turn around for it. And the reason why, it's just because even though I haven't been trading right now, and I've been more in the learning mode, I still have still messing around on demo. And I have a demo trade now that I put on, and that's about the terminus of where I would sell the last 10% of it in that $100,000 range. So that would be good if it did that.
And where did you get long at?
92. $92,400.
Okay, I understand. All right. It's perfect.
I don't even know. I don't know. I can't remember the value of it. I'm not even logging. I'm in the U.S. now, and I can't log into Mexi during the show here. Otherwise, all things explode.
I understand.
But that would be a good pattern, as they say.
Was it because of the pullback that came in this morning that you got in on that?
Yeah.
On that level? Yeah, perfect. All right, good place. All right, let's go ahead here real quick. So this is kind of like what I'm expecting here. Now, we're having a little extended time looking at Bitcoin because we haven't been on the air for a while. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand what I'm looking at and how I'm perceiving everything. We still haven't cleared through our zone right here. So we could see a pullback right here. I don't think so. I think they want to get the liquidity up at that 96,000 area, if not higher at that 100,000. Because especially when it crosses that 100,000, people are going to come and get bullish, and that's when the institutions go, "Yay! Okay, let's sell off on them." You know,
let's sell off them bitches.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward here real quick. I also wanted to bring up a couple other things that we've been paying attention to here.
Wait, hold on one second, Pedro. I want to do two things before we do that. One, I want to look at my screen real quick. One thing I noticed with the Bitcoiner, this is the past I don't know 10 days or so here from the low that it had, and I looked at this pattern. I'm like, oh, big liquidity sweep. Let me get the candle. Or big liquidity sweep here, coming down, and then it followed the predictable pattern here of up and then down, then back up. And I say that because I drew the fib on it, which I haven't been in the habit of doing on long-term stuff. And it came up and dropped right as the predictions tend to say with Fibonacci's to the 786 retracement. And then that was Monday. And then Tuesday, it bounced right off that. Boing! And it's been on the way up. And I found that to be a not so coincidental move. Yeah. But I just wanted to point out it doesn't mean anything going forward for me. But had I been paying attention to that, it would have shown me a different area, a much lower area to get in than the 92 area that I got in. But anyway, then on to the second thing. Pedro, it's just we've been in the show a little bit long enough now. We got to say hi to everybody. Crypto Mike in the house. Hope you had a good weekend. Oops, that's the wrong button.
Do they
Crypto Mike. October 12th, they do Thanksgiving. So the holiday season starts way back then.
Do they get a double one, though, for them?
Yeah, like half the households in Canada have a strong American connection.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And like a third of the country has American citizenship, too, or some crazy huge number. And so there's a lot of people that do both. Like me, I did both. Right? And I celebrated Kanukistani Thanksgiving in October. And then I came to the U.S. and celebrated it here, which is good. It's good.
Yeah.
But
I think.
But I got to tell you already, the belt is not doing well here. So
I feel I myself do. I live with some cool people, and they feed me well. They do. They feed me really well, and I can't. I think I probably I actually went out running today. I literally started having, I feel like heart issues. No joke.
Don't run, man. That shit's so bad for you.
I'm talking like, I don't necessarily run. I do the squat thing, right?
Yeah.
Weird. All right. So I look like a weirdo guy going from
He does.
Anyway.
But he owns it, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. If you make fun of me, you can. I hope one day I go viral doing it. Somebody just videotapes me. Look at this weirdo, and all of a sudden it goes viral. And like, oh, this dude's like, he's all over the internet. And then they're like, oh, he is a
they're
weirdo.
following you like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, like every morning. Look at Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, out there like doing his squats. Let's go find him. You know, it's funny.
Hey, welcome Dr. Fire Chicken to the house. Dr. Fire Chicken. Changing up the homestead, something like he moved or got a new house or something like that. But congratulations to them. Congratulations on all that's going well with the Fire Chicken project in general. DeFi Dude coming to us all the way from España.
España.
I said that like a German speaking Spanish. You know, Spanish people would say España. You know, Germans go España. Actually, the Germans probably have some giant long name for Spain. Like, that, you know, the whole name of the country is probably 17 words that tells its history. That's its formal name. And of course, everyone else, please just do it. Oh, I forgot. I thought I posted that, but I didn't. Please, everybody, do your thing. Why are these things not posting? There we go. Welcome, everyone. Please share, comment, chat, repost, follow. Just do it. It helps us out. Helps us get those viewer numbers up. Pedro and I had a record month in November for on Rumble here for behind the scenes the creator thing. We had 462 hours, I think, of watch time, which without having a big event or a really popular guest the whole month, that was pretty good for us. It was really, really good for us. It was double what we normally do. So it was a big thing, and it's all because of you guys out there putting your eyeballs on our stuff. Yeah, not on my junk, on our stuff. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny is, you know, like I love crude humor. Like, you know me, I'm a very I do use the word religious man, but I follow a strict way of living, right? And so I have my own set of rules and stuff like that. But I have this, like, I love like Adam Sandler's crude humor. I am all about like, and so I went to a friend's place on Thanksgiving just real quick because he called me. He was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, he's like, "Dude, just come over and hang out. Like, it's miserable." I said, "All right." So I go there, and his brother-in-law is like, you know, he's a Christian and he just came to Jesus and life just changed. It was cool, right? Life changes. He changed his whole entire pattern of things, right? But I can tell like he's very strict. He's just a lot of strict in that state. Like you're very strict on certain things. You're not as lenient. And so I'm like, you know, I'm being honorable and making sure I'm being cool. And then his daughter here at the end of the night, she's like, "I've been on good behavior because of him." And then she's like, "I'm gonna say," and he goes, "No." So, you know, that guy goes, "No." And I was like, I love crude humor. Like, it's like the best. Like, the irreverent, the better, you know? And I guess I kind of grew up with some stuff like that. And what's so interesting is that I enjoy, you know, when you enjoy something and it's not like a bad thing. It's just one of those things that necessarily is the best thing. It's not beneficial for you.
Like a donut?
No, donut's just bad for you, bro. Like,
Right.
there is no saving grace in a donut at all. It's filled with like just grease. On top of that, the sugar. I mean, it's a death trap. It's a poison trap, especially if you got sprinkles on that thing or the chocolate that they put on. Like, no, it's literally a death trap, like just straight up. But the reason why I say all of this is, you know, when you love, like, I like crude humor, not like gross humor, just like your mama jokes or your like, or that's what she said, right? Like fun stuff, fun that can be fun, right? That you can, you know, you can rally back and forth. Somebody says some quick, you know, retweet or it is that is. Anyways, I'm just saying I enjoy the quick wit of banter back and forth. And so I don't even know why. Oh, because you made a comment about sorry, dude, ADD. That was really ADD bad, bro. Talking left field. Okay. I don't even know why I went on that route. All right, let's jump back to the market. We were talking about news sources and what's actually happening. That was literally 3 minutes that I took from everybody that they're never going to get back. And they probably
Nope.
stupider now than they've ever felt in their life. I'm sorry. From the bottom of my soul into my internal gut.
See, this is what happens, Pedro. We don't do the show for a couple of days, and you forget how to keep a thought in your head. It's just,
when you're talking
what do I do? I'm talking, but I'm not. I don't mean anything. I totally forgot. I did that talking to my wife the other day, and I was just like, I don't even know where I started with that. And she's like, you need those old people drugs now, don't you? You get those commercials, and like you just mistakenly watch one commercial 1 second too long on YouTube. And then they think, oh, he's interested in that. And it was just because you couldn't get to your mouse fast enough to click off it. And then you're besieged by I got the video the other day to the machine that puts your socks on for you because you can't bend over. You're so old.
Really? I didn't even know they have things like that.
Yeah, you put it in your lap, you put your sock on it and stretch it over it. You put it on the floor. It has a stick, so you don't have to bend over. And then you slip your foot into it. I get that commercial like once an hour. I'm like, I'm not that old. I've got 40 years before I need that thing. By then, I won't need to do any of that stuff because they'll have robots doing everything. I'll just have a robot maid. Put my socks on.
Absolutely. Honestly, I don't even think that's going to happen when it comes to it. If America doesn't get itself act together, I don't think we'll have enough money to buy that stuff. I think it might go somewhere else. I think Russia or potential India could. I mean, it really is kind of scary if Trump can't pull off the crypto initiative and what we were trying to do with technology. It's gonna.
Well, he's trying. You sent me a good article about that today, Pedro, and other people were covering it too. And in fact, that's the theme of the show.
There you go.
Theme of the show here, your favorite crypto trading talk show with Pedro and Striking, and it shows, it's not the video part, but it's Donald Trump throwing the, let's see if we get it to play here. Why doesn't that play? There we go. Throwing the Bitcoins up in the air with sad-looking Britons behind them. And the point of that is that, as the article that you sent me today, I guess it wasn't so much an article, but news that the SEC's chairman, or chair, or governor, or whatever the hell it is, Paul Atkins, said, hey, in January, good things are coming for crypto.
Yeah.
We are going to be, and they've been talking about this for a while, and our own guest commentator, Patrick Dougherty, brought this up and saying this is what we need. And it's essentially a sandbox. It's going to allow for innovation without breaking any rules. If you come up with something new, just come up with something new, and you're not breaking the law just because you come up with something new. And you'll be allowed to declare it part of the sandbox or whatever they call it, and be able to develop things without the government being able to come down and say, well, technically you violated the securities law, so we're going to sue you for $1 billion and put you out of work. When that product could be the next thing that changes the world.
Literally.
Right.
I mean, right. So
And
you just don't know, yeah.
And in the UK, the Bank of England's coming out saying, well, you're just not going to be able to hold that much crypto. And we have all these laws about reporting. You have to report every transaction and pay this high capital gains tax and all this type of stuff. And they're hammering it. And Pedro, mark my words, the United Kingdom will ban privacy coins. And
You think so?
there's no doubt with the explosion in interest in Monero and Zcash and all this type of stuff, they're going to just ban them. And I firmly believe that. And just say, and they're going to say because they'll say child corn users are using it, so nobody can use it. And I learned something about, I've been researching why the YouTube doesn't like us. Because you can't say that word that begins with P, even joking about it.
Yeah. So we always make.
Yep.
Got you.
That's just one of their words. They're like, nope. And there's a couple others that I'm trying to figure out too. And it's
So Savesa. right? The cerveza sickness, we've changed.
That's not so bad anymore, but it's.
But we can create a new. I'll create.
Yeah, like corn. You know?
Or no, we can't say that because it's still too close, right?
Let's say,
let's say tapes. You know, when people are tapes, when people watch tapes.
And the other thing is apparently that what we give grief about the whole. I'm not going to say it, but the whole thing about pretending to play the other spouse type thing and play in the wrong sport and all that. That apparently YouTube has said no, you can't even talk about it. Yeah.
So when we talk about that, because we're not even necessarily like opposed to what we really talk about, the idea of from a society standpoint, like, is it beneficial to actually build something from it? That's really what we're coming out of. Okay, so
what the people in the
word from it,
they're like jagoffs, you know, something like that.
No, or we could just
we'll plan that. We'll figure that out later. But the point is that if your whole channel and show is on those causes, like tracking down the tape people, and or promoting your event around the pretending thing, then that's okay. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Wow, that's actually really good. More than meets the eye. Yes. And oh man, this is the meme. Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun with AI.
Apes and the Transformers, or even Formers. We can call it Formers.
No, I like Transformers more than meets the eye.
Usually I'm careful because it could even target, you know, just because they play by words, so it could still be correlated to that. When you say Formers, you know, our people will understand what it means. So there we go, my peoples. Look at that. We are starting to, again, I got to throw this out. Joe Rogan, Swifties, Taylor Swift, Mr. Beast. All right, we hit everything else. Okay. You know, and Elon Musk. There we go.
And we got Elon's face down there on the footer.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
And that's a space down there. They got the Bitcoin girls and Michael Saylor down there. But what it needs is a sponsor logo. So all you people with deep pockets that watch our show every day, just, you know, Pedro and I need new Lambos, and so
going to Ibiza to have a little fun.
Right.
That's the funny. I always crack up, dude. I was actually talking to a friend of mine because they're like, we were talking, and they're like, "Oh, I see you post that show on your Facebook page." I was like, "Yeah," and so he's like, he talks about the show. He's like, "Oh, it's been going on for a long time. I noticed, like, on YouTube and stuff." And I said, "Yeah," and then I was explaining, like, he's like, "Can you trust him?" I go, "Yeah, I very much think I can, very much." Speaking of you, and I go, "He's an honorable dude." And then he goes, and I go, the fact is that he actually had so many partners who've literally screwed him over that, you know, and I talked about the strippers and coats and over in Ibiza. And the guy starts to laugh. He goes, "Oh my goodness." He goes, "It killed this whole entire business." And so, like, he's like at a point where he's just like, you know what? It's all good. You know, I'm doing good now. So I just think it's kind of cool that, why was I bringing that up? Oh, because we talked about, whatever. I don't know why I was.
Yeah, I think that what we need is to go bridge upon that. We need a paying sponsor. That's what we need. We've had lots of free sponsors. Speaking of, the DeFi Dojo is still here. I talked with JB the other day about it. He said, "Are we still going to go forth in the new year as a trying to cross-sell?" Not cross-dress, cross-sell products. And I said, "Yeah, I'll keep your logo up. And if you guys have someone interested in an AMA, so if you're got a project or something and you want an AMA, go see the DeFi Dojo on Twitter, or X, or in Telegram. You can find them, DeFi Dojo. I used to have a link in the body of it to them, but apparently having too many links now is also not a good thing on YouTube. So,
wait, what? Oh,
if you have a million links that lead to non-YouTube stuff, in your description, it's also a negative.
Yeah,
It takes people away from YouTube.
Which makes sense from a business standpoint. Absolutely. Absolutely, actually. I would definitely look at that. I was, I always forget. There we go.
Why am I not hearing you in my ear? A2.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, I'm my wireless headphones. I forgot to charge them, so they're dying. So I'm plugging my wired ones in, and this just not working.
Sometimes that happens. I totally understand.
I can hear the music because I'm piping the show music through mine, but I can't hear you. It's the weirdest thing. Oh well. Oh, you're moving. All right. I thought you froze there for a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for everyone that's watching the show. As you can see from the pricing thing here, Bitcoin back up over 93,000. Pedro says, believes it's on its way to just under the 50-period moving average, which will bring it up to about 100,000. Is that what you said there, Mr. P?
Yes, sir.
Before possibly coming back down. I don't know what Pedro's doing, but he's reading something and laughing.
Sorry, dude. I have you ever, I have a lot of things I subscribe to on Facebook, and as I was going on my thing to see if I can have more interaction with it, jumped on my Facebook page, and then this thing popped up, creative memes, and it's so good.
You know what? I always broadcast to Facebook, and I forgot today. We are not live on Facebook.
Well, I gotta show this. This is too funny, dude. This is so good. This is the greatest Amazon review I have ever seen. There's a woman sliding down the side of a mountain that's filled with rocks. And she says, I can just say that I will be reordering them in every color. Here is me rolling and sliding down a mountain because I was too scared to get up. My leggings did not rip, not even a little bit. And I got stuck on rocks, plural, rocks and trees. Oh man, it's so good. Forgive me, that is so good.
I mean,
that's weirder than anything. I'm like dying. Like I was like, she's like exhausted. She's like, I'm done. Then she looks down and goes, my leggings are still looking good. And who's the one taking pictures? This is probably AI. Very clever AI. Very, very clever. Anyways, let's go ahead.
Nothing but epic.
That is funny. Forgive me if I've offended anyone, any's wife. If that's somebody's wife or husband, I don't know. You just don't know nowadays. No offense. It was just funny. And so, but it's probably AI. These are great. And have you been seeing, obviously, about like the baby ones but have you been watching like the new dog ones now about like their owners, the AI videos? And
there's so many of them that are so good.
You just so good. So good.
Like an hour goes by like that. I've been watching the ones where the package thieves do the Mark Robert thing, the guy on YouTube that blows up stuff. And so there's some great AI ones out there of them just huge, massive amounts of paint coming out of the boxes and like turning their whole car green and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fun.
Or the people fall like the lady going down the mountain that she might have been a little larger than average, or from Missouri, and so she is average. But just rip on Missouri for a little bit. The most people I've ever seen with their necks go from the bottom of the ears to the end of their shoulders. Just poop. Just like that. Just like, where are your guys' necks?
The Missouri people are going to be like, we're never watching these guys again. As they look in the mirror.
I had to go to. I had spent 4 years going to Missouri because my son went to school there, and I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" Apparently, a lot of fast food is eaten in Missouri. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Now I've totally lost my train of thought.
All right. So let's go back to the topic of today. Trump and crypto, right? Trump is what, I forget who said it, but they made a comment basically saying that things go to die in in Europe.
Patrick McHenry, the former chairman of the House Banking Financial Services Committee.
To die. And again, we're seeing that currently right now. Now, a year and a half ago, when that statement was said, America was also a place where crypto would come to die, right? But now it's been reversed, and it's actually been something that's so interesting because we're watching Trump as well as the SEC really step in and put together a package that allows for innovation with the caveat that, like, you can create things, just don't go trying to screw people over. And if you do, the law will come after you. So understand that. But if you're doing something genuine and you mess up, well, look, and we see there's really no like unfair. It's just, that's what happened. It's a new business and it fell apart, but you tried. Okay, fair. If we see there's a rug pull, well, you better be careful because we're going to come after you. But if you're really trying to build something and create something, we're going to allow you to have a space or build that castle and seeing if it will be the next innovative technology that we'll see cross the allow for true innovation out of America. And this is something that we actually saw right after World War II when we saw the vets come and there was a lot of GI bills that were created, an entire system for them, to go to school, to innovate. And out of that, 20 years later, you saw huge businesses being created, new innovation that came from that, right? So I think it's one of these things I'm really kind of excited to see in Washington. But my biggest fear is that he's starting to get some traction, right? But the market isn't good, and he is going to be fighting with midterms here now. And if the new administration gets switched over, or if we get a new whole entire administration switch over, then everything that he's trying to build then becomes, so it's like if I'm an investor and or I'm a person who wants to build, which I am, I'm a little nervous with this idea of like, if I come here over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, then all of a sudden it looks like you're not going to be president, or your administration is not going to be presidency, and you have that favorable sense in crypto. I've got maybe 4 years, 5 years, because once you put in the new SEC guy and also the new Fed guy, they can get switched out within 5 years. So now I've got to figure out a way to get out of America. So it's like this really hard balance of, yeah, I want to be in America. Yes, I want the freedom that's going to entail and the ability to grow my wealth. But can I really, really build a business there over a long period of, because business is not built in 5 years. Business is built in 20 periods. They think in 20-year periods, 10-year periods, right?
Yep.
And so it's like, how does that work? That's my biggest thing I was thinking about. What are your thoughts, Tom?
My thoughts are exactly like that. And speaking from a point of view as someone who's done a lot of business in the UK over my life, it's really hard to do business in the UK. I was just selling to companies there. I didn't have my own company there. But when they wanted to start a new company, it was very difficult for them to do so. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. Because here in the US, you can start a new company, just hire and fire someone. Like, oh, it didn't work. You could be in your company 2 months, and they're like, oh, this isn't going to work. Sorry, bud, we're closing the doors, we're out. You see that with startups all the time. They're like, yep, okay, or we have to fire everybody because we're going to iterate the changes and come up with a better way to do this. So we don't want to carry the payroll for a year while we redo it. in the UK, and it's, to be honest, much of Europe, it's very difficult to do that. They've passed so many regulations that are workers first, that they're like, yes, we protect the workers, we protect the workers. But that's not the point of a startup. You know, the point of a startup is not to protect the workers. Is to make a bet and say, this is going to win because I've identified a gap in the market and I've identified what product that I can make to do that. And I can do it. But if there's all these onerous rules that say, oh, well, you know, if you say that you have to hire somebody for, you know, and give them, you know, a year's notice if you're going to close the company or some, you know, all these crazy rules that they have, or you owe them, you're like, you have to take 90% of your budget in reserve that you should be able to use for innovation and put it into a what if fund if we go out of business. I mean, you need so much more money to do it because you have to pay the employees forever, basically, not forever, but for a much longer period of time. And the compliance and the legal fees and all that, it's not just like here you go to set up a company, boom, like that. You literally go over to the federal government, get your taxpayer ID number, boom, now you can start making payroll if you want a real employee. Now, obviously, most startups, you know, people work for free or donuts or, you know, with equity, future equity in the company and something like that because they got a side gig that pays their food bills. But a lot of startups don't. There's a lot of startups that someone says, all right, this is going to be more than a one-person job. I need to actually hire someone. And they do it that way. And it's difficult to do that in the UK. It's difficult. And not just, I mean, a lot of people do it. There's plenty of businesses over in the UK. I mean, people start up LLCs all the time. But to take on the burden of having employees makes it a lot more difficult for them because they can't just get rid of them if it doesn't work. So people are hesitant to make those steps that will create those unicorn companies. Those unicorn companies are created not by a dude in a garage. Everyone thinks, oh, like Jeff Bezos created Amazon in a garage, and or Uber, you know, or all the companies in Tech Valley were created in a garage. Well, yeah, it was in a garage when it was just one guy, but then when they formed the company and actually had to start making shit, they had employees and they had people working for them, and that next step is very difficult in Europe. And as they put more rules on crypto, say, oh, here's another rule, here's another rule, here's another rule. The crypto firms were just like, I'm going to go on vacation to Florida, set up a company there in tax-free land, get a local director, which you can find fairly easily. So you can hire an attorney to be your local director, and go. And all of a sudden, you're operating in the U.S. Oh, hold on.
Now, as Tom is talking about this, I also want to add in that I think they do that literally to protect the employment side of things, right? Because we, in America, we can see the evil side of I almost call it the
exploitation of workers.
Exploitation of workers, right? That's I wouldn't say it's common, but I would say it's more common than it is in Europe. But in the same sense, we also have, I feel like, more opportunity for jobs. We have more opportunity to be able to, if you go out and you get put out on the street, you know, like I can go out, I can get a job at Dunkin' Donuts quick, right? Like if I was to be pushed down, be like, hey, yeah, I'm a 45-year-old man, but I need a job, right? And I can do this. And you look at the other 45-year-old manager and they go, yeah, you're going to be able to do this. All right, cool. Come on, right? And boom. So it's like you, within a day, you can get a job. Whereas I feel like in Europe, that's not as accessible, right? But you also have more long-term viability for your job. So right, many times, like security, well, then you don't necessarily, security isn't real security, right? The only real security you have is your own, you know, there's Jesus and then your own balls. Like, that's it. You know, your word, how well do you honor your word, right? How well do you honor yourself? It's really your own security. All right, anyways, so go ahead, Tom, and finish off your story. You're back.
Sorry, I'm anticipating my headphones not working here in a minute, and I don't know what the F is going on here.
Sometimes they be rolling, man. They got you.
Yeah.
They got you.
Anyway, the point is that if you have a choice of where to do business, and Texas is doing I swear to God, a fire truck just went racing down the street this way, number 22, and now a truck 110 went racing this way down the street. They must have passed. Like, same style fire truck, not like one was an ambulance and one was a ladder truck or something. They're same.
Yeah.
They're just pissing me off. They're like, let's get Tom. But anyway, but Texas is doing a bang-up job on it. Their companies are flocking there from New York. They're reincorporating in Texas. They're even moving their incorporations from Delaware to Texas because Delaware's court systems have suddenly turned not favorable to corporate boards of directors. And so they're like, okay, well, you're going to lose that business, Delaware. Bye-bye. And New York's going to lose all of the payroll tax and all that type of stuff because people are just literally like, sorry, we're going to Texas. And as they attrit employees in New York, they'll hire new ones in Texas because not everyone's going to move to Texas. And but the same thing with Europe and in the UK. Just have the options you didn't have even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, really. Before the Cerveza sickness, the remote work stuff was a little bit more difficult than it is now.
Yeah.
Now it's like they've developed every possible tool to remote work well. And so you can have employees, kind of wherever you want. But even if you wanted to have an office, there's a whole bunch of people in the UK that would temporarily move to the US and pay far lower taxes. Because the UK, you don't have to, like in the US, they tax us at our full rate. Doesn't matter where we are in the money. In the UK, in Europe, most of Europe, they don't. They don't tax you on foreign income if you're working out of the country. If you're an expatriate, in the US, they don't. If you are actually like forever moved to another country, but still a U.S. citizen, is different. But so it's easy for people to say, let's go start a business in Texas. And if you start a business with enough investment, you can get a visa to do it. There's a big way that Canadians get residence rights too, and really for that matter, Chinese and Indians and everybody, and people with money. They say we're going to start a business, and then so they buy any small business that's for sale, and not even in what they want to do. It's just a small business that's for sale. They buy it, and if they actively manage it, they can get a visa to come to the U.S. and actively manage their company. And of course, as soon as they get there, they change the whole company into what they want to start. And so it's easy. I mean, it's if you have money to invest, and you want to innovate, and you have an idea for a product, you can come to the U.S. and do it. And soon you'll be able to do it without any worries that you're breaking any law. I mean, obviously, if you intentionally try to break the law or fraud, that's different. But if you're got something new that doesn't fit in, like crypto didn't fit in, if you've got some new way to pay for stuff, some new way to do things that the government's going to be like, no, let's work as a collaborate on it and see if we can innovate and develop the next new technology. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic.
You know what's interesting about what's actually that statement, I think, and this is, again, I'm maybe being duplicitous here, but on the back end, when you look at what's actually being established in America, if this thing does take off, right, and we really see great innovation happen, you'd almost have to say, like, if the other side of the political field that doesn't necessarily agree with crypto, if it brings in so much tax dollars and really causes innovation, they would almost have to sit there and just yield to go, dude, this is paying our bills. Like, are we going to sit there and bite the hands that's feeding us? So it's going to be really interesting to see how they actually play out here. Is it going to be, so I'm hoping that they're not going to be so staunch in how they view crypto, that it's, like you said, it's child tapes and mass murderers, right, and convicts that use Bitcoin, but more or less it's now a new form of real innovation, and seeing what's actually progressing or seeing it progress is almost paramount to, I almost feel like, America's survival in a sense, right?
Yep. Yeah, just stand by. I'm just changing my earphones out because they finally died, and I finally got the other ones working here.
Perfect. I just noticed this is the first time I've seen you like that on
Oh,
You've always.
it's been years, and I don't.
Yeah.
My headphones just my earphones just wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know
Well,
why.
You look great. I don't care what those other people say about you.
They're all just transformers.
More than meets the eye. All right. Let's go ahead. All right. So, any other cool news that you want to bring up?
I haven't dug it up yet. Let me.
While Tom is doing that, I want to bring up a couple of the ones that we've been talking about for years. So, let's talk about BAT. Where are you at? Basic Attention Token. And
Let's make sure we bring up ICP also.
Yeah.
And that what was the one that begins with an A? CZ's
Apto- Oh, Aster.
Aster. Yeah, bring up those two. We've been following them.
So BAT token, we've talked about it when it was down at these lower levels of like that 10-cent area. It's starting to climb again. We're seeing decent volume come in. Even though we're pushing up, I would hope to see more volume, but it's a good amount of volume as we're coming in. We had a bit of a sell-off over the holiday here, but importantly, and so you can see here today we had a little bit of a boost with BAT. And I like it because we could get back up to that 48-cent mark area here. And the fact that we were buying it down at that, 10-cent mark, that's a 4x mark here that we can be playing here. So BAT is starting to look like it's starting to pump. And potentially we could see it blow through that 48 cents and get up to that 56, 67 area too as well. So we've got a couple of zones here. If it blows through up here, because you can see as it's come down, it's hit this area, and I think we're going to most likely blow this out if we do continue higher. And the reason why is you can see the amount of volume coming in at this level as we're pushing up. Not so much like here, and here it was a little bit less than this one and this one. So you've seen an increase of volume as we keep trying to hit that area. So I'm expecting to really kind of push from that 10 cent all the way up to the 40, if not even potential 50 area for a cent wise. The other one we can go over is ICP. So my man Perfume, we talked about this area, which was really interesting, is that from that 280 all the way up to that 90 or $9, $10 area here. It did hit our area here, and you saw just them just kind of as they push them. And I did expect it to find some support here because you saw a descending of volume as we were coming down, right? You see this here as we saw volume coming in. So this is an indication of like, honestly, just taking profit. So for me, like, again, it's coming back down to retrace from the initial pump. And honestly, with what they're seeing, what they're doing from a fundamental standpoint, they have a AI that is great for prompt to use. So through Vibe coding, you can actually go through and build DApps. You can build on their blockchain simply, and through this new technology that they've connected with their blockchain. So that's why we saw the huge push. I'm just sad that we saw the sell-off. It's still being used a lot. A lot of people are building stuff on ICP now because of the ease that they can. So this is kind of cool to sit there and see. If we do see it continuing, again, expect that liquidity area, because I talked about right here as we hit that to see a pullback into liquidity and to push back up, but we went straight up to the supplier, which means they're most likely going to come back down to get that liquidity at the $2.79 or $2.791 area, which is what I'm expecting it to pull back down to. Also, let's check out Aster here. All right, so Aster is actually starting to show a little bit of strength, but again, to add to the insult to injury, we saw it kind of push up, right? And we saw it come back down to these lower levels. Now, importantly, this area here, when we look at the intro time frames, as we were coming down into this area, again, just like with Bitcoin, we're seeing a lot of sellers step in. Like, look at this amount of sellers, right? So for me, it's more of this is them. It was just a pull. It was a push up. Now this pullback here, though, now going up, when you look at the actual time frames, the nice part behind it is that even though there's not as much volume, there are all these people who came in and were buying faster as we were pushing up. And so right now, they're in the negative, right? So most likely, because crypto natives are this way, when a market is screaming up, they buy. When a market comes down to its lows and we start to see consolidation, what do? They typically sell. They just get tired, right? It's like, and so that's a good thing, because that means institutions step in, they take that other side, and then we should see a follow through to it go up. So sounds bad. I know it sounds bad, but the great pullback area, and I said, don't get caught up with this level push up. Wait for the pullback, which is right here. So we saw it come down into this level. So we're going to wait just a little bit longer here. I know we've been talking about this trade here for almost 3 months, but I just want to see the conventional bottom that we can then see it push up. And it did exactly what we talked about, right? Over the weekend, we saw it pull back. We saw it come in. And so if you did get in at that 97, 93 area, good place. And we just want to see it really step in and kind of really push it hard. So this is where we're at. Right now, we're at that point. Again, remember, we want to pay attention to the month. We could see it go up and then come down, and we want to see it put in just another bottom like this with a lot of buyer wicks. That's what we want to see, right? Boom. So again, I talked about that $1 mark to about that 98 cent area, or 83 cent area that we could potentially get down to again, but let's wait and see. And it's important to understand why, because we want to see real institutional people come in. I think once we see a lot of the crypto natives just sell off and get disheartened, that's probably when you'll see it.
The capitulation.
There you go. And they take
it's coming. It's coming.
They're going to take the soul of crypto, but you'll get back in, and then you may not have 1,000x, but a 15, 20x is still going to be good. So
Pedro, it's coming. You know why? Because people are complaining about it already. Everyone's complaining about altcoins, blah blah. People that have pushed altcoins forever are like, man, I'm gonna hold cash, man. I don't want to hold altcoins, because they got their asses handed to them.
Yeah, that's actually the sign. When you hear mom or when you hear grandma or grandpa talking about flipping houses,
that's when the market's at its top.
Yeah, exactly. When you hear people complaining about altcoins, who used to scream altcoins, well, most likely you're probably at your bottom here. They're probably selling off that Lambo because they now need to handle that margin call there. That's horrible. Speaking of MSTR, talking about margin calls here, they've actually been, and it's been a while, right? Because we haven't been. We need to do Technical Wednesday, right? Yeah. Versus Technical Tuesday. Well, maybe we can call it Wrap Up Wednesday. No, that's not gonna be good. We'll figure something else.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But let's look at MSTR here, because MSTR, there you are. MSTR found some support at that 155. It didn't come down to my 144 area, which I'm really upset. I'm like, come on. And we saw some really big volume stepping at that low level, right?
You had talked about 244 also, if I recall.
Yeah, that was up here. That was the 244 area, which
right.
It just blew through.
Right.
And then we also said, yeah, and that liquidity area, right, was one of those areas that was like, or 230. Then we came back down even further. So now it's down at that 144 area. And what I'm really looking for is at that 144 area to that 101 area. These are the areas that I'm personally looking to take advantage of the other MSTY, which is the
options fund.
Yeah, the options fund. And so that's why we're paying attention here. This is going to be a fun play here. Now, again, this is a risky play. I tell people don't do it. I'm telling you not to do it. I'm looking at it myself because I know what I'm doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't understand the trade, stay out of it. Please. Like I'm telling you. But if you know what you're doing, play by your own risk. I'm just letting you know what I'm looking at, what I'm looking to do. But it's all on you. Okay? Okay, not financial advice. Now, it's important here when I look at my MSTY, yield max, that this area, that's why, because it's crypto, that's why. MSTY.
Yeah, I got it at $7.32.
Yeah, so boom. I have it at 38 cents. So our area, like I was looking at, was that 18. But when we blew through, I said we're gonna wait and see. And so like I said, we talked about, I want to see a similar situation where we see crazy volume step into this. Right now, we're not seeing a ton of volume. They're a bit of the opposite situation, and so I think that's actually more deterrent for me to wait and see. Still at these levels at $7. $7, $5, $4. That's just a good price point for me. If I'm going to get in kind of for myself, like that's just a good area. Now, granted, to understand that this play, your money sitting in this ETF, you are losing your capital.
Patrick asked that question right now. Patrick asks why options fund and not the ETF. And apparently you're just addressing that.
Yeah, because it is an option play in which they pay out dividends every single month, or excuse me, every single week. And so right here, I'm looking at these low levels. By you getting in, I'm going to get an exponential growth in the dividend. So if they pay out on a weekly dividend, and typically they're giving 3 to 5, 6%. I mean, the dividend on here is 14 cents. Right, on a weekly basis, right? So that on a monthly basis, I mean, just look over the last 4 weeks here. Boom, they paid out 16.9, 16.2, so it's 32, 33, 3, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 47. 57, 58, 59, 60. So 60 cents over the last month. That is 10%. 10% in a month that I'm receiving off of my capital that they pay dividend out. And so because of that, by me buying this as it's selling off, right? So we're seeing the sell-off come in. We're watching, I can put my capital to use at the low level, but I want to reiterate that this is eating your capital. And so the longer my capital is in it, and I'm not necessarily getting capital appreciation, I am now losing money because this is an option-based ETF. And so, but my biggest thing is I want the capital to pay me. And over a period, if I get in at a low level here, we're at $7, $6, $5 potentially. It all depends how far Bitcoin's going to drop, because this is correlated to MicroStrategy, and MicroStrategy is correlated to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, MicroStrategy goes up, so does MSTY.
However, if since it's an options fund, they obviously can easily play the other side of the market. And if
sure.
Yeah, and go and buy and do puts instead of calls. Patrick asks, can you explain the strategy? Maybe I'm coming in a little after that because you just went through explaining it. But Patrick, did what Pedro say kind of make sense?
Where is Patrick at? Is he on YouTube?
Yeah, he's watching on YouTube. He says, do you like Bitcoin Yeah, our Patrick. Do you like Bitcoin as a buy now? Off the 100-week moving average and on the weekly, we are leaving 3 wicks and monthly demand.
Yes, I think we're going to probably come back and tap lower first because we're going up first for the month, right? And so we understand if it goes up first, most likely it's going to then pull back at the end of the month, right? Remember, we are at the last month, so we could be seeing profit taking at the last quarter for the last month, right? So if we're looking at that, let's look at BTC here.
I gotta step away 1 second.
That's right. BTC here on the monthly candle here. We're going over the yearly candle here. So we're going to be finishing up on the yearly candle here. We went down a little, right? We went up at the beginning of the year to go down during in April, right? Then we pushed up crazy. And then I expected in November or, in October, November, December for us to just skyrocket up, but we did not do that. And so I'm predicting potentially we could see on the yearly, the 6 month, the 3 month, and the monthly chart here, potentially pushing up to go down, right, is what we're seeing. Now, Grant, I want to reiterate, and Tom pointed this out as well, that we put a decent wick in for the month, but it was under low volume. And so whenever I see low volume with a wick, and here's the daily, right, we saw it come down with more sellers, and then we saw buyers step in with no real demand, right? I mean, there is a demand wick, but not necessarily, right? Because when you look at the volume, we're seeing a decrease as it's pushing up. I think we'll see the volume keep decreasing as we push up until we hit a supply area of the 50 period moving average on the daily, and on the weekly, that 50 period is the 8 on the weekly. So we talked about that earlier. So this correlates then with MSTR, which is MicroStrategies. In regards to the play that I'm looking to play, I would expect it, because automatically it is a losing asset, right? But if you put your capital in it, but if I can see Bitcoin come back down, I would expect to see MSTR come back down, as well as MSTY come back down even further, where I can buy in at these low rates. And then into the new year, if we see it scream up, right? And now all of a sudden, I buy in at $3, $2 for the MSTY, and it goes to $15, $20, $30. Not only do I have the capital appreciation from my income buying in at the low level, right? But I also get the dividends based off of that. So now I'm getting on a monthly basis a 10% yield, but instead of on, let's say, $10,000 at $2 or $3, I'm getting a 10% yield now on 10,000. That's now gone, if at $2 and it goes to 10 or 12, you're talking a 5x. So you're talking $50,000 of, I would be looking to get 10% yield on that on a monthly basis, right? So that's $5,000 coming in, and we could potentially see it go up much higher. So that's why it's like I'm trying to gauge what's actually happening here, and so I can kind of time this here. Again, this is not for your basic person. This is someone who's much more advanced, understands the nature there and understands what's actually happening. Now, Bitcoin, I think it's smart to get in around these levels. I do expect, like I always say, you should be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin every week, right? Go in and buy some, buy a basket. You can buy baskets on crypto.com. You can buy baskets of crypto on Coinbase, on Kraken. They have now baskets that you can just put $200 in or $100 or $50 in on a weekly basis. And all of a sudden now you're buying in on a weekly basis, so that even if you have sell-offs, right? I'm a firm believer in DCAing, right? But also, I always say, if you got extra dry powder and we have a huge sell-off at these lower levels, right? Like I'm expecting down at these lower levels, like potential, 60,000. I wanna have powder down at that 75,000, right? And so I'm a firm believer, dollar cost average. But but also I put money when you have major sell-offs, because it's just kind of, you're able to buy more for the same thing. It's like a big sell, or as what's his name, Michael Saylor said, it's Black Friday for BTC, right?
Yeah. Patrick says a weekly candle has the most volume in the past 13 months. So that's a sign.
BTC?
Yeah.
No. What are you talking about? Am I wrong? Here's my weekly. You had this week here on October 20th, where you had a good amount of volume. You had a decent amount of volume coming in here during the summertime.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Pat, what maybe you're looking at a different BTC. Maybe you're looking at Coinbase.
Those volumes are different, but generally follow the same pattern.
Yeah, it's still like, even in May, May we had a good amount of volume.
He said the big red candle, not this week, but.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. There was a lot of seller volume.
That 3 weeks ago, that big red candle, it had a lot of volume on it, and it's got a big demand wick.
I don't disagree. We could see the pullback, but when you look at the daily candles, you didn't really see that, right? Like, as we're coming down, we're putting in demand wicks, right? But you can see they're putting in even demand wicks, right? So, and yeah, but even and not, and a thumum, right? We'll have fun. All right, so Patrick, I love you over there because you're helping us out. Could I encourage you, my friend, to get over to our Rumble site? Because it does help us out. And so, I mean, you could do either or. I love you either way, my friend. But having you over there does help us out. So just throwing that out there. Either way, you're great where you're at. Let me pull that up here real quick. Is there anything else you want me to look at, Pat, so I can check out? Let me know, my friend. And Pat is a long time, well, maybe he's been watching for about a year and a half now, which is cool. A long time listener. I mean, we've only been on for about 3 years, so about half our time. So I would say aloud. Can you believe it's been almost 3 years now?
It's been more than 3 years.
Has it been?
Or it's like, I mean, you kind of started, it's like my Halloween show in 2022.
Yeah. Dang, bro. Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years plus. That's crazy. Great friendship. All right, guys. So let's check out. Oh man, it's already. I gotta go.
I was just noticing that.
Yeah, let me pull one last one up here. One of the ones I wanted to bring up was, where you at? I'm looking at Crow right now, but that's not the one. I'll hit Crow and we'll do the other one. I always talk about Crow. So Crow's actually been coming back down. It hit our area last Thursday. And what frustrates me is last month, I put a stop hold at the 6 area and also that 9 area, or 9 cent area. And it frustrates me because it went out. My buy went out, I think, on this day, Tuesday, the 17th. And then it didn't, I'm like, ooh, like.
So close.
And what makes me, because I didn't pay much attention, I saw it pop up on my thing and I was like, oh, my limit order's out. I go back and make sure I put it back in. And then freaking, like, I just forgot, something popped up and I didn't do it. And then a few days later, it came down and it would have got me in at these lower levels. But it's looking like it's going to sell off again here as we continue. The other one I wanted to bring up was... Is it Link? I know the chart. Yeah, it was Link. Yep. So, Chainlink here, which has gotten a lot of fame and a big huge push of this one. And I wanted to talk about what was it? Not Tone. Dot was the other one. But chain link here, you can see we are coming down, we're pushing up. You're seeing a good amount of volume stepping into chain link. And we're also seeing, again, a bit of a gap. I like this, I've been talking negative about so many other, or bearish on many of the coins out there. But the fact that this is pushing up, it's almost already at the 50 period moving average. And we're watching, if you look at that, that crossover, it's a beautiful crossover. And so I'm looking at it going like, well, where's the next liquidity? Well, it just came back and tapped this liquidity here, and it's still showing strength on your smaller time frame. So we saw it pushed up, we saw it come down, and now I'm watching going, is it going to continue? So if it does and we see it, I want to wait for that pullback and to push up even further. And so that's right now I'm seeing this big push out of the 8, and you can see how it's kind of basing under the 8 and 20. And so you understand what that means.
Based.
Based. So you can see here as we're coming up to that $15 mark, I would expect a pullback, come down and tap the 8 and then continue up even further. And so, yeah, it's one of those things that I do like. PGERV, I see. Oh, no one of YouTube. Yeah, don't worry about you.
No one loves YouTube, says.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's Patrick.
Yeah. P-Curve. All right, I like that. P-Curve. All right, so you can see here, there's something about that, right? P-Curve or Daryl Lawton. All right, so I like this the way that looks. The other one I want to bring up was Dot is kind of showing something similar, not as strong though, but it's one of those ones that I've been trying to keep an eye on. So if we see it pull back, I want to be buying around, like I said, it's already kind of hit my area of that 213 area down to the 142 area. Now we're kind of coming into this level. I'm like, good. So these are the areas that I want to be purchasing link or Dot at these lower levels here. So just throwing that out there. And you can do that either in you can create your own basket on any major central exchange, or you can go on a decentralized wallet and purchase these at a common decentralized wallet as well. We need to honestly, there's so many cool things. Have you been messing with any of the new wallets out there? They are so simple.
They are. The only ones I've been messing with are the DYOR Rumble wallet.
Really?
If you guys want to participate in a trial, that means you, Patrick. Click the link there and sign up for the Rumble wallet because now Rumble has integrated wallets. We could always post any wallet in the description, say, hey, send us some money. But now it's integrated into the whole account here, and it makes it part of the algorithm reading and all that type of stuff. So people can donate in USDT, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin right now. Send us all your Bitcoin, please. But it's in the beta period, and if you sign up for the wallet and make it, install it and all that type of stuff, down below next to our name, a tip jar shows up. It's the beta period, so only people with the wallet can do it. And you can send us a tip. Not available in your region or country. Oh. You know what? You're in Canada, right? Isn't he in Canada?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It worked for me in Ontario because I installed it when I was in Ontario. But you know what? My phone's a USA phone.
So you're gonna have to keep one. You're gonna have to keep it over there. You're literally gonna have to keep it over there, and then trust somebody to handle that. Oh.
Wait, Patrick. Just to be clear, the Rumble app or the wallet app?
The wallet app. Yeah, you can watch Rumble in Canada, right?
I don't know. I just realized I have a US phone. Pedro, I'm going to take this quick moment just because it's the first time this month to do a quick ad read here.
Ready? Let's go ahead.
No, I'm not reading broken dick ads.
Dude, we need to do one. How much did we get paid for them?
It's 32 cents.
Nah, it's not enough, right?
No.
I mean, it'd be like if it's $2-3, they'd be like,
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to take you off the screen for this, Pedro. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, are you looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content? Are you? Hold on, I just need to switch something here. Are you looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? I know you are. Got to get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month. When you sign up before December 31st, normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to an exclusive premium content. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, and exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a QR code on the left side of the screen here. Click it. Put your phone up there. Put your eyeballs on our advertisers. It helps Pedro and I out a lot, even if you just visit them. It shows that our audience is actually real people and not just some botted up channel with thousands of viewers. Also on your phone, if you're watching on your phone, in the chat section, there'll be a link. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much. There'll be a link in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Perplexity AI for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live. Alrighty.
Here we go. Nice. The app, that link there on the screen is what he said. So yeah, the app.
Oh, okay, so the Rumble app, it was probably available for me because I had a USA phone. And I did it while I was in Canada, but when I roam, it trunks the data all the way to Texas, where T-Mobile's data center is. So it thinks I'm in the, it serves me USA content. But that's interesting.
Well, he's about to throw some cash our way. We gotta figure it out.
Damn it, Canada, get going.
Gotta love the Canadians or their government. It's funny. The more and more I hear, the more I realize that the Canadian people and the Canadian government are two different entities.
Well, that's what happens with a parliamentary style of government, because you get the party in power very rarely has a majority. Like a current example, Prime Minister Carney's like, I am the biggest, most popular guy ever, blah, 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 blah. Only 40% of the voters voted for him. 60% voted for someone else. But if the other 60% had voted for just one other person, like we only ever have two, then the other party would be in charge. But they spread their votes out amongst a couple of different parties. So none of them had more than 40%. So you end up, in the last government under Mr. Trudeau, it's even worse. Only 33% of the people voted for him. Not of the population, 33% of the people had voted. And so, and so you end up with a very low percentage of the population. I think with Trudeau, it's like only 19% of the population voted for him. Because you have 33% of voters, but then you add in all the non-voters. So 19% of the population of Canada voted for its leader. And that's a recipe for disaster. And every time people are saying, we're going to get rid of that and have ranked choice and make sure somebody narrows down runoff elections so somebody gets 50% plus one vote. And then as soon as they get in office, they're like, oh, well, no. That's ridiculous. Oh, we'll get to it. We got priorities.
You know what? I mean, once you're in power, man, that's the key, right? Like, if you can get into power, you can now rule the roost. I mean, that man was in power for almost 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Trudeau?
Yeah. I know, and he only totally fucked the government up and the country up.
It's crazy when you think about it. Like 10 months or 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, that is absolutely nuts. And he wrecked you guys. I mean, he took away your rights to be able to stand against it. He took away your rights to speak against. I mean, like, you
own firearms. He said no, can't do that. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like those three things, you can't speak against your government, you can't stand against your government, and you can no longer have guns. Guys are basically sitting ducks. So if your government wants to just be like, pow, pow, right?
To be honest, to clarify, I'm using a little hyperbole with the guns thing. A lot of people have firearms in Canada, but they've banned, they called so many types of rifles assault weapons, and that are just dangerous to society, like, you know, like 70-year-old hunting rifles. They're like, oh, you can't have that. You could shoot up a parade, you know, and things like that. And they've put in so many onerous rules that, like, you have to, like, if you want to go to a gun range, now this is, I'm speaking from an Ontario point of view. If you want to go to a gun range and practice, you have to call the police and tell them you're going to be transporting your firearm from your home to the range, and you got to get a permit for that.
It's crazy.
I know. Like, it's the dumbest thing.
Like, I got to go get a permit just to go to the gun range. Like,
yeah, you have to let the people know, because it's dangerous to be out in public with a gun. Like, it's just it's don't get me started. We'll be here for hours. But what I come to realize, and Patrick will probably understand this pretty well, is it wasn't just that Trudeau was just such a bad, you know, policy person. In Canada, the federal government has a different relationship with the provinces than in the U.S., our federal government with our states. In Canada, the provinces are essentially their own sovereign beasts. And they tax each other, and they have policies that conflict, and there's all kinds of kind of problems with that. There's lots of good things, because they have the governors and the premiers can do a little bit more on their own without worrying about federal law. But it has its problems. And what Trudeau did badly was work with them as a team. His ministers just came in and said, this is what we're doing. We're like, at one point, his minister of the environment said, we're not building any more roads. Like, there's no money in the new budget for new roads. You know, we'll fix existing roads, but we're not going to build any new roads. So we're just not participating in it. But yet they're charging gas tax. So, you know, so he just, the province is like, wait, we've got 20-year plans, you know, out for developing certain areas because the population's increasing, and we've built roads into that. And some of those are federal roads, and some of them are provincial roads. It's just one of those things that they didn't work as a team. They just say, do it our way or the highway. So the provinces were just always at odds with them. Even provinces that had similarly thinking premiers, they're just like, this guy in Ottawa is this bonkers. And when that happens, things grind to a halt. You know, anytime there's, you know, he said, she said in politics, you know, nothing gets done, and that's what happened. So they didn't fix problems. And then when the cerveza sickness came around, they since they weren't coordinating, it was just a mess.
Did your government shut down during the cerveza sickness?
Well, it just essentially they just, you know, tried to do the work from home thing, but you know, a lot of the things did shut down because they weren't issuing passports anymore. They weren't, you know, people weren't traveling, yada yada yada, that type of stuff. But
the reason why I'm going is, if they did kind of slow down everything, did they slow down the taxation because they weren't working?
Nope.
As much? Oh, they didn't. Okay. So I think there should be a new law that if you shut down your government, guess what? The politicians don't get paid. It just makes sense.
Kind of makes sense.
We're holding the keys. I mean, am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. This is a revolutionary idea. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Just saying. Just don't. But I mean, you know how America needs to adopt that as well. Anyways, so I got to get going, my friend. But
all
guys,
right.
thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I saw we just had a spike of 20 watching us.
What?
So, yeah.
Yes, we are. Ladies and gentlemen, for those new people watching, Pedro Garcia and I are the duo that hosts a show called DYOR Live. You can see the logo over there. Daily show, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. and it varies a little bit, Eastern time. We do a show all about crypto, about policy, regulation, what's in the news with crypto, how it affects you and your holdings. We have this app over here, TradeWave, that's coming out soon. It follows the markets, and it follows what Pedro and I are doing as trades. And soon that's going to be coming out. If I get another good solid week of programming, it'll come out, and you'll be able to follow along with our trades, copy trade us, or just watch and see the wizardry that comes out of Mr. Garcia's mouth here.
Or make fun of me. Or make fun of me. Listen, I am all about good razins. So if I call a bad shot, y'all be like, yo, I don't like that big old nose of yours. You lying.
But it is an interactive show. So every day we take questions from the audience. And we do that via the comment section. So if you're watching on your big screen TV and you don't have an account, you know what? I'm going to go back and put up the QR code for you.
Go through us, Tom is doing that. Connect in, come in, and just we're able to just be able to log in and ask questions.
Yeah, that QR code that up there says Join Rumble. Put your phone up to your big screen TV or however you're watching this. Click that. It'll take you to the register link for Rumble. You don't even have to create new ID or password. If you go there and you want to use your Google or Facebook or Apple login, just click the sign in button and there'll be the familiar icons to sign in with your social media account link or whatever.
And I also want to add, if you have different opinions than me, please espouse them. Look, I have no problem. I may not agree with you, but I always appreciate different views, different thought processes of how you look at the market. You may not agree with me. I'm more of a technician looking at the market versus fundamental, but I do back up a lot of my trades with a fundamental if I'm looking to go long for a long period of time. But so I'd love for the new people who are now starting to watch us, come in, give us your thought processes, and let's just talk shop. And you know, one thing I always try to say, let's everybody try to make money. So yeah.
All right, everybody. That's all we got for you today. Thanks for joining us today. Pedro and I will be here tomorrow, Thursday, 12:05 p.m. Pay attention to our social medias. Join our Telegram room, all the usual stuff. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Where's that button? Show credits. Goodbye.